What we're going to work on today is to take a collector quality large cent and use some curating and cleaning techniques to attempt to enhance its eye appeal. Please keep in mind that you should never clean or cure your coins until you've had a professional numismatist with significant experience evaluate your coins. I can guarantee you that in most cases, if not all, the novice cleaning a coin will reduce the value of the coin significantly, if not totally. So in this case, I've determined that this 1835 large cent is, it's just a nice collector coin that will always exist as a raw coin. And by raw coin, I mean, due to its technical wear and the surface quality, this coin would never grade on the Sheldon scale of 1 to 70 at PCGS or NGC. Furthermore, it's a relatively inexpensive coin, so there is not a lot of downside risk if I screw everything up. Therefore, we are going to use a few techniques to try and improve the overall eye appeal as the average collector would probably want their coin to appear. So when we look at this coin, the reverse of the coin has verdigris and PVC residue. And what we want to do is attempt to get rid of it. The obverse of the coin just has your standard brown copper color from circulation. So ideally, if the reverse looked like the obverse, then I would never mess with this coin. It's a $30 coin as it stands right now, and it's a $30 coin if this all turns out well, meaning we really can't add too much value to this. It's only a $30 coin, as I said. We're just trying to make it saleable, or that so somebody would actually like to, when they flip it over, they'll go, "Ugh, look at the verdigris." So we're just going to try to get this verdigris off, and then use some techniques to match the obverse and reverse. So the first thing we want to do is get our coin in place, and probably a good idea to put on some gloves so you don't end up growing some horrible extra appendage after handling these chemicals. And we're going to get our chemicals. In this case here, we're going to experiment with MS-70, blue ribbon, and Goo Gone, and also acetone. So, being that this is a basic experiment, we always want to start with the least abrasive technique first. And in my opinion, right now we'd use a little acetone. Now, acetone on copper is not the greatest thing, in the sense that pretty much every solvent or chemical we use on copper causes copper to dry out. And so acetone does a very, very good job of that. So if we take a little bit of acetone on a Q-tip, and we take it and then rub the acetone real gently over the coin in small circular patterns. And you can see on the Q-tip the green, which is basically PVC, and that is coming off. So we'll do this several times, hoping that if the acetone gets the PVC off, you don't have to go to other chemicals that'll leave an oily residue on the copper. We want to be able to get it off as quickly as possible, and then if we need to after that point, kind of reapply a little bit of moisture from our skin, oil basically, to bring back a little bit of the copper color. So just again, you can kind of tell when it's done when the Q-tip stops turning green. So here we look at the back, we took off about 60 to 65% of the PVC, but you can still see some green residue. And you can still see a white residue now in the recessed area of the leaves. This is kind of the effect I was talking about earlier, where the acetone starts to dry stuff out. There's obviously still some residue on the copper, and in general, when we tilt this coin back, you can see where it has more of a coppery color now, but it is still doesn't look great. In fact, in my opinion, even though there's less PVC on it, it actually looks worse than before. So we're going to continue to take off the PVC and then try to get it back to a kind of even, somewhat natural looking appearance, even though we'll know it's altered. So now, after the acetone, I applied some Goo Gone, and you can see that took off the rest of the PVC for sure. And since Goo Gone is more viscous, you can be a little more aggressive with rubbing it around on the surfaces to get the PVC out of the cracks of the devices and the lettering, but it still leaves an oily residue on the coin, and we're going to have to address that. You could, at this point in time, if you wanted to, just dry it off the rag, but that Goo Gone will stay on the surfaces and eventually bad things will happen. So we're going to have to go rinse this thing off in water, and so we'll rinse it off in water, bring it back, and go to the next step. So after rinsing it off in water, we score. This came out better than I thought. There really wasn't a lot of damage underneath the PVC. So in terms of not having any surprises, this is what you want. A lot of times when you take off coatings that are on coins, there could be a whole host of things underneath that have gone wrong. There could have been prior cleaning or prior polishing, all sorts of things. But this one, as I expected, and this is why you always want to ask a professional, was just an average circulated coin, had not been harshly or improperly cleaned. It just had circulated, and then as it sat, it accumulated PVC. So now this coin actually looks pretty good. And what we're going to do now is just take a small fine brush. Again, never do this unless you know what you're doing. And just kind of even out the surfaces and apply just a little bit of literally just my thumb or skin to kind of push in some oil and then brush it around to make it look even. So for this next part now, the coin actually looks good as it is. And truthfully, you could at this point, if you wanted to, just stop and just leave it. But being that I can't help myself, we're going to go to the next step. So the next step is remove your glove, and you're going to use a little bit of oil, which you can find in the cracks of your nose, forehead, and we're just going to put some around on the coin. Now, the problem with this is, of course, it will give it an oily look, and we really don't want it to appear too oily. Again, you would never do this with a rare coin that you planned on grading, because first of all they'd catch you, but second of all it just doesn't work. So we've put some oil on this coin, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take and brush really lightly around to try to get a even appearance to the surfaces. And this, hopefully when it's done, will just be a nice, pleasing looking large cent on both sides. Now notice that on the obverse I did not do anything, and I'm only brushing the obverse a little bit just because I'm brushing the reverse to keep everything even. And at this point we should be pretty much done. So now we're done, and the coin came out good. You can tilt it and see that the PVC is gone. We were able to get a little bit of life back onto the surfaces, and overall now, even though again it wasn't worth any more or any less due to this process, it just makes it so that the person who's buying this 1835 large cent gets a coin that doesn't have PVC on it. It's you know, a VG to fine coin, and at least now the obverse and reverse match. And you know, you're not deceiving anybody in the sense that if someone asked, I'd say, yeah, you know, I took off the PVC, I used some acetone, then a little bit of Goo Gone, rinsed it, sweated it a little bit, and brushed it out, and you know, that's exactly what it is. A nice, solid, just easy, affordable collector coin. I hope you enjoyed this, and look forward to having you guys follow me with more videos.